If you're using your time thinking of what to eat, a book is the last thing on your mind. But is that an excuse, or we don't just have a reading culture? And because we don't have a reading culture, why don't we have a reading culture? And before I continue, I would like to note that most of these things I say are from personal observation and experiences, and just I'm not drawing a conclusion. And this is not a to-do list or a rule to live by. It's basically an open floor to start a discourse. So back to the habit of reading. For many Nigerians, for many Africans, there was this quote I saw: if you want to hide the truth from an African man, put it in a book. Is that true? Do we accept that is true? And if it is true, why is it true? Why is there something in our DNA that does not let us read? Or is it because the cost of living is just too much? And books are very expensive. You go to a library, and they say, okay, well, there are free books in a library. And yes, there are free books. So why don't we read if there are free books? And when we read things that make us escape from reality, such as fiction is great. Fiction is great, but a lot of times we don't read the kind of fiction that makes us think very much. And so, those genres I'm talking about. So why don't we read? And when we actually do read, for the ones that do read, why don't we journal? Maybe write or something, record, document in our own little ways. Why don't we do that? And for those of us that read, how did you start reading, and what did you start reading with? What made you start reading? Did you start reading because Mama Nkechi said she was going to flog you if you did not read? Or did you start reading because of sheer curiosity? I'd like to know, really. And if you read, what kind of books do you read? Do you read fiction? Do you read political books? Is it a mix? And when you read political books, are you moved to start a revolution? Or do you just read it and say, my life is too precious to go and start fighting? What exactly is your outlook after you read? And do you have friends that read? I'm just very curious as to why most of us don't have that reading culture. Right? And when sometimes, when things get stolen from you, it's never really a storybook or a good book of fiction. It's usually your pen, your food, and everything. And they steal all these things and then leave your books. And then you begin to wonder, why didn't you take my book? That means you did not deem it important. That means knowledge is not important, or what? And I think for those of us that do read, congratulations. And I feel we should cement our strength on what we read about. For example, if you are very curious about the topic of love culture in Nigeria, and you do read love culture, and you have a friend that's very curious on economics, and that's his strength or her strength, I think it would be such a beautiful blend to bring those things together and tell one person. Of course, both of them should have knowledge on each of the topics, but obviously one is going to be stronger. And then tell one person, you're very good in economics. Okay, you're going to take the calculating side of this. And you're very good in studying about love culture and teaching, so you're going to take this side of this. Do you know how harmonious such a community would be, such a country would be, if everybody actually read and mastered what they read? Of course, you're going to have little knowledge of everything, which is very good. It helps you, because you have to have a little knowledge of English to even understand economics. So we should have a little knowledge of everything before. Yeah, but I think we can still have our strengths despite having a little knowledge of everything. So it will be such an amazing thing. And I know it kind of sounds idealistic, and I think this is where the main character energy should be shifted towards. Not have that main character energy in such a way that you have to keep the world clean because you are in it, not sort of in a narcissistic way, but in a way that, this world has to be clean, and I will make it clean. I will bring my best foot forward. And I think that is what living really is about. And I think you really enjoy your stay with people like that, people that try. Because when we talk about trying, a lot of people scoff and like, that means if you're trying so hard, that means it's not worth it in the first place. But I tell you, you would hate living with someone that does not try. trying is such trying is a very beautiful act. Even though you don't get it right, you try. You genuinely try. And so about reading, yes, I encourage us to read more on topics we are interested in. If you're interested in economics, mathematics, English, literature, politics, the world, birds, it could be something as small, not small, but I'm just saying it could be something as small as extensively reading about plants and reading about their uses and extensively reading about herbs, reading the gospel. It could be something as small as reading about spiders. And you'll be like, what am I using with that? What am I doing with this knowledge? But people want to know. You can't be the only one with such an interest. People want to know, but they're just waiting for that person that will come out and say, I like reading about spiders. And suddenly they feel they are no longer weird. You like reading about spiders? Me too. I like reading about spiders. So if everybody keeps holding back what they read, if we read, when we read, please read. If everybody keeps holding back, then who is going to bring the food forward? Be the first person. I mean, if you want something, you go create it. And you can only sharpen this knowledge by reading, by watching literature, watching documentaries, watching information about anything you're interested in, really. And I think we can have a happier world, because that energy that you would have used to fight, you'll be lost in a book, you'll be lost in your imagination. Because when you're reading about spiders, you begin to think, can a spider be 6 feet tall? It's crazy. But when you keep on reading about something extensively and you just go deeper, and sometimes you never come out, sometimes you come out with profound answers. And let's try reading today. If reading is not your habit, then let's try reading today and share with a friend that wants to start reading. And I think we should really, really read. Please read. Read about things that are that would help us. I think the world will be a better place. And how many books have you read this year? No, I'm not going to start with that question. What book have you read that really stuck with you? And how did you make a change in the world? And maybe in your small circles, how did you do that? And just let me know. And as always, Jessica.